Hi there, welcome to lesson 1-2B, where we're going to look at order of operations and variable expressions. The difference today is that we're going to see expressions involving variables, so we're going to see some letters. So for instance, on number 1 here, we'll notice that this isn't just numbers. We've got some variables and we have the numbers that those variables represent, where we're going to be using the substitution method. We're going to take x equals 3 and substitute or plug it in for x and take the fact that y equals 2 and again substitute it in for y. Once we change this into a numerical expression, we then can simplify using order of operations. Let's begin. So wherever you see an x, put a 3. Wherever you see a y, put a 2. Just do note that this y is a small y and that ends up being our little exponent up there. So when I have a 2 sitting next to an x, I know that that's multiplication. So I'm going to put a dot. This becomes 2 times 3. And y is 2. All right. So now we have to do parentheses. And inside the parentheses here, I see that exponent would come first. It's a very common mistake for students to want to multiply these two numbers together first. Just remember that we want to do exponent first. So if you think about PEMDAS, we're doing parentheses here, exponent would come next. Okay, still inside parentheses, we'd want to multiply. Then 18 minus 5 is 13. (13 to the second power), 13 times 13 is 169. And then the last step would be then to take away the 18 that we've been bringing down here, giving us 151. So as soon as we substitute for the variables, we then can simplify using order of operations. This is called a variable expression because it has the letters in them. On number 2, looks like x is 3 and y is 4, so go ahead and substitute those numbers for the variables in the expression. Do note that the 2x means 2 times x, so we want to put the dot in there. Sometimes kids will put parentheses here. You could do that too. I just like the dot, so I'm going to change that to a 3. X is 3. And y squared, 4. All right, so I've substituted everything. Now I can look at my expression and then I can work through order of operations. So it looks like exponent would be next. I see it in 2 places. I can do it at the same time. There's no left to right rule with exponent. Okay, so there was no parentheses. I did the exponent, and now I'm on multiply, divide, left to right. So moving left to right, looks like I multiply here first. Okay, still on multiply, divide, left to right. I'm over here. Now I'm done with that. I'm ready for add and subtract. Notice I have to do it left to right. So left to right, like I read a book, subtract comes first. And then we'll get the answer of 4 if I did all of that correctly. All right, there was number 2. All right, on number 3, here is our expression. So let's go ahead and substitute 4 for P and 3 for Q and then rewrite the expression. Notice here, this is multiplication, and here we also have multiplication. We want to be sure we carry down the parentheses when we're rewriting the expression. So 2 times p to the second power plus, now be sure you have parentheses, 2 times q in the parentheses, so 2 times 3, and then our exponent. Okay, now we are ready for order of operations. Okay, parentheses first, so right here, that's where we're starting. Done with that. Next step would be our exponent. Remember, you can do them at the same time. We're just rewriting these as numbers. This power is the same thing as 16. This power is the same thing as 36, 6 times 6. Okay, now multiply, divide. And then our last step is to add. And we all come up with the same answer. Awesome. On this next variable expression, we see that we have 3 different variables. Again, we're going to substitute in. You can go ahead and you can plug in for G, H, and W. Go ahead and pause the video if you like to, and then you can check your answer when you're done. This one looks a little bit different because we have a 3 sitting outside of the parentheses. So I still do parentheses first. This becomes a 1. Now at this point, I could pull the parentheses back down, or I could use a dot here to represent multiply and leave the parentheses off. Your choice. I see I have 2 exponents. I can do them at the same time. Changing this power to a 4. Changing this power to a 49. Okay, then I multiply and divide. I could have changed this to a 3. Some of you may have already done that right away, changing it to a 3. So here, left to right, subtract and add left to right, 1 plus 49. We all end up getting 50. On this next one, x is 100, y is 5, and z is 4. So in your notes, go ahead and write down what those variables represent as numbers, and then we're going to plug them in. So it looks like here we're seeing division with a fraction bar. I'm going to put a dot because I know that 3y means 3 times y. So now I have a numerical expression that I can simplify using order of operations. No parentheses, so I'm going to move right to exponent. Remember, we want to do this exponent before we multiply by 3. A common mistake is for students to take 3 times 5 first. You have to evaluate this power. 5 squared is 5 times 5. All right. Then I see multiply and divide. I know that I have to do them left to right. 3 groups of 25. Okay, still multiply and divide, left to right. Moving along here, this is division. I can change that into the number 20. Okay, once I write everything down, I still see multiplication and division here. I still see division. Okay, now lastly, I can do the subtraction, and I end up with the answer of 70. I hope that you did too. On the next one, number 6, here we're seeing parentheses with a second set of parentheses, so you see them as brackets. We also have parentheses over here. Go ahead and fill in C is 8, D is 7, and E is 3. Plug those in to create a numerical expression that you can simplify with PEMDAS. Okay, we've got parentheses in a couple different places. So doing parentheses. Right here, 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now, I know that the next step is exponent, and I see this power right here could be simplified. You could go ahead right away and change that into a 16. There's no reason you have to wait on that. Okay, so now we're going to go over here to this set of parentheses. This big bracket that you see. Within the bracket, I still have to follow order of operations. So I'm going to do 15 minus 7 first. It's in parentheses and get 8 plus 3 squared. Again, right away, if you know that 3 squared is 9, you could change that right away to a 9. You don't need to wait on that. So now I have 8 plus 9, which is 17, just bringing that down. And I've done parentheses in both places. And my last step here would be then just to add the 2 numbers together. And we'd all end up with, hopefully, 33 if we did it right. So boom, 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 all of that done. All right, thank you so much for joining me here with variable expressions. Good luck on your practice today.